Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another day of the virtual ride. Today, Sunday, is a Sierra Ride Day. So today would actually be when we would be biking up from Red Crest to Independence, California, or the other way around. I don't know the topography of California, but today we're going to get started how we usually do with some ride dedications. And we're going to have a short little video about what exactly a ride dedication is. And if you have any ride dedications, feel free to put those in the comments, and we would be more than happy to share those.
Texas 4000 is the largest annual charity bike ride that takes place every summer from Austin to Anchorage, Alaska, with the purpose of spreading our mission of hope, knowledge, and charity in the fight against cancer. A ride dedication is a way that we start a lot of our meetings or a lot of our rides. This is when we dedicate a ride or a part of our ride to somebody who has been in some way affected by cancer.
A ride dedication is motivation to me, because when I'm going up a steep hill or it's been a really long ride, the ride dedications that I hear from my teammates and myself are the reasons that I keep riding.
Due to the current circumstances surrounding COVID-19, it's no longer safe for us to do our typical bicycle ride from Austin, Texas to Anchorage, Alaska. So instead, we've decided to do things virtually this summer.
So we will be having our cycling events virtually. We will be engaging with our community virtually.
A virtual ride dedication works largely the same way as a normal ride dedication. Before every meeting or before every virtual ride, you would say, I ride for this person. And if you want to, you can go into a little bit more detail about how that person touched your life.
You can submit your ride dedications via 3 different platforms. You can submit a ride dedication via the Texas 4000 webpage. You can join our Facebook live stream, or you can join our Zoom calls.
The virtual ride will be going on from May 29th to June 26th, and ride dads will be held before host interactions in the afternoon and at 7:30 to 8 a.m. Central Time every morning.
Thank you so much for participating.
Join us at texas4000.org. Together we can make a difference.
Okay, so like the video said, you can upload your ride dedications to multiple different platforms, and we'd be happy to share it here on Facebook live stream. But before we get started, we're just going to go ahead and introduce ourselves and what our ride dedications are for today. So my name's Clara. I'm the assistant ride director for the Sierras route, and today I ride for the Schroeder family, and Colin specifically, and his mom. Last week, his mom passed away from cancer, and so we are always riding for him and his family and for her, as well as the original reason, or one of the original reasons that I joined Texas 4000, which was for mental health in the cancer community, especially for the social workers and mental health professionals who get to help people going through treatment and also the families going through treatment. So that's just a little bit on myself. So now I'll pass it off to Philip.
Hello. My name is Philip. I am the 2020 Sierra Ride Director. And I've Texas 4000 has been the second nonprofit that I've been lucky enough to work with, the first of which being Camp Kesem, which is a free summer camp and year-long support system for the children of cancer patients, which is an incredibly overlooked and underserved demographic within the cancer community. So I always ride for the campers that I was so lucky to serve, and of course their families and their parents most of all.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I am riding today and always for my Oma, my granddad, my uncle Mikey, a boy named Brock that I taught swimming lessons, and my best friend Aaron's father, who all lost their fight with cancer. But I'm also riding for my friend Mason Schlechte, who was on our 2020 Texas 4000 team, and then also riding for Colin Schroeder and his family today.
Great. So we're just going to go ahead and read some ride dedications that we've got from the website, but also feel free to comment any ride dedications that you may have in the comments. like I said before. So the first one is for Marcia Goodlett, who passed away on May 20th, who was a cancer survivor and beloved friend to many. So to her.
And from Ross McGarity, our own program coordinator, manager, I forget his specific title, but of course we'll always ride for his grandmother and for all the work that Ross himself puts into this program and our team.
We also have another, Thank you, Eric. We'll be writing for your colleagues at Macomb, as we do have a Macomb alum with us here.
Thank you, Clara.
Then we'll also be writing for Lloyd Brubaker. That might be incorrect, but that's how I'm trying to pronounce it. From Lloyd Brubaker for Lori Brubaker, who died on August 23rd of 2019 from complications of pancreatic cancer. She loved Texas 4000 and all that it represents. So we'll be writing for her and keeping her in our thoughts as we continue every day of the slide.
Clara, it looked like you might have skipped one on that list.
Oh, I was going to leave that one for Rachel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can leave that one for Rachel.
I also gave this ride dedication, so we'll just double it. But my mom submitted one on the website. Ben Remington, which is my granddad, Mike Remington, my Uncle Mikey, and Liz Ogle, which is my Oma, who all lost their battles with cancer. And my mom said, cancer hits too many families and friends. We love you, Rach.
Which we do. We love you, Rach.
What would we do without our travel chair?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. Another one on the website, and apologies if I mispronounce this, from Ruchika Bengani, and it is a ride that for Kirat Boweja, who was in the UT class of 2019, but passed away after a tough battle with leukemia today. Although that might have been sent yesterday, so it might have been yesterday. And yes, we'll always ride for your friend.
And then I also have another one that I forgot to give this morning. But for all the people that I always do this one, but I think it's an important one because it's definitely been one of the factors that has motivated me the most throughout Texas 4000, which is all the people that I've met panhandling. For those of you guys who don't know how panhandling works, is we pretty much go out in the Texas heat or the rain or, whenever we are able to go outside, and we'll stand on a corner and ask for donations for Texas 4000 or, just their support in general. And so through that, we've gotten to meet so many people who just stop and take some time to explain a little bit about themselves and their own histories with cancer. And so those have always been despite sometimes it being difficult to panhandle during the Texas heat or the rain, as Philip can attest. But getting to hear those stories definitely motivates us and keeps us going. So to all those stories that we've heard.
Yeah, I think I'd like to off of that same note that you made. I'd like to give one specific ride dead to someone that, and Clara, you might have been there too when we met Buzz.
Oh yeah, I have his little postcard on my fridge.
Oh, do you mind go getting it real quick?
Yeah.
So we went panhandling around ACL, Austin City Limits, Austin's music festival it throws every year. And we thought we were so sneaky going down there with all the crowded areas around Austin's big park and trying to get as much donations as we can. We didn't end up making all that much, unfortunately, but we did get a chance to meet a really special person. His name is Buzz. He spent many years abroad teaching students in Southeast Asia, if I remember correctly. And his wife passed away from cancer. I forget when, but I think it was some time ago. And so what he's been doing in memory of her is he's been going around handing stacks of these cards to people with his email address on them. And on the back of each card is like a quick description about how important it is to like hug people and to show people affection and kindness. And he told us that he's found or that he's gotten emails back from people who have received those cards in all continents outside of Antarctica, which I just thought was an incredibly good gesture for him to do. And yeah, Buzz was one of those special people that we met while panhandling.
Yeah, I can go ahead and read off what he said if y'all would like, because I think it's something we all need to hear right now. It's about hugging with social distancing. Obviously, you know who you can hug and who you can't hug. But I thought it's really beautiful. He said that his wife Bonnie, who passed away in 2011, posted this note on his fridge 25 years ago, and it says, "Hugging is healthy. It helps our body's immune system. It keeps you healthier. It cures depression. It reduces stress. It induces sleeping. It's invigorating. It's rejuvenating. It has no unpleasant side effects. And hugging is nothing less than a miracle drug. Hugging is all natural. It is organic, naturally sweet, no pesticides, no preservatives, no artificial ingredients, and 100% wholesome. Hugging is practically perfect. There are no movable parts, no batteries to wear out, no periodic checkups, low energy consumption, high energy yield, inflation-proof, non-fattening, no monthly payments, no insurance requirements, theft-proof, non-taxable, non-polluting, and of course, fully returnable." So to Buzz, because he definitely was a special person, one of the many that we get to meet.
Let's see. I can read off another one that we got from the website. This one is from Paul Mathis, and it is for Grant Mathis, who is his 31-year-old son, who was just diagnosed with Burkitt lymphoma. And he is currently in Medical City, Dallas hospital, going through his third cycle of chemo. So yes, we will always ride for Grant Mathis. And thank you, Paul, for sending in your ride, Dad.
Yes, we also have another one from Melissa Mormon for the folks at Texas Oncology, Dr. Gorbeck, Shuba, and Christina, a great team of cancer fighters who have worked tirelessly through this pandemic on the epidemic called cancer. So caring and so confident, she said. So for everybody at Texas Oncology, which reminds me too that last night we had the opportunity to have a program with Ochsner, which is one of our grant recipients in New Orleans. And we got to learn a little bit more about what they do in their new cancer center over there. So for all the folks over there who continue to dedicate their lives to helping in the fight against cancer.
A fellow Buzz enthusiast. We can do another one from the website. Oh, this one looks like it was also submitted by Melissa Mormon, and it is for Christy Barth. So yes, we will always write for Christy Barth. Thank you, Melissa.
Thanks, Louisa. That's my sister. She's literally next door. She's seen that card many times on our fridge. And then we also have another ride dedication from Megan Leaders to Richard Wood, who lost his battle with cancer last year to multiple myeloma. Sorry, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. Myeloma. So we will be riding for Richard always.
Let's see, we've got another 10 or so minutes to submit ride deads. But I can give 2 other ride deads that are more personal to me. The first is for my grandmother on my father's side. And my father, so my grandmother first got cancer when he was a teenager, and it was breast cancer. She ended up getting a mastectomy for it. But that was one of the circumstances that sort of tied into the other nonprofit that I was involved in, Camp Kesem, because if my father was born closer to today, then he would likely be a camper at Camp Kesem. Since growing up, it was really difficult for him to have to juggle being a teenager in rural Illinois, trying to do well in school well enough so that he can go off and go to college while saving money, also having to drive his mother to chemo treatments all the time. So I know that it was much tougher on him than he may like to admit. But yeah, I'd certainly give a ride dead for my grandmother on my father's side, and also my grandmother on my mother's side, Anne Farrington, who passed away from, I believe, lung cancer while I was in elementary school. So I unfortunately didn't get the chance to know her that well before she passed. But I always ride for her too.
Yeah, I also want to give a ride dedication. Like, giving these ride dedications always reminds me of all of the times in Text 4000 that we've got to, interact with the community. And each of those times, we always come back. And I remember before every meeting, everyone would come back with like these long lists of all these people they met, be it like volunteering or different visits. For me, one of the visits that like most marked my Text 4000 experience was definitely our MD Anderson visit. It was a really unique day for me. I went to an interview for a job and then had to go straight to MD Anderson in Houston, and then drive back to Austin. So it was very hectic, and I was just really nervous, and there's a lot going on. But then we got to go into the hospital and see where some of our grants get to go to and some of the research that's being done with our grants. And I'm from Houston, so MD Anderson has always, it's a big part of Houston, and everybody knows it, and obviously a huge part of the cancer community worldwide. So getting to go there and see not only the people who are affected by cancer, but seeing the passion behind the individuals who are doing cancer research and the doctors. As somebody who loves research, that was definitely one of the moments that was most marking to me. So I have ride dedication for everybody at MD Anderson, doctors and patients and family members. And I'm just really lucky that we get to do our small part in helping MD Anderson continue to do everything that they do. Rachel, do you have any unexpected ride dedications that you gained through your experience in Text 4000?
Something I'd like to give a ride dedication for are the hosts and the places we're supposed to go to along the way to Alaska every summer. Like, unfortunately, we weren't able to actually go see them in person this year, but we're like being able to kind of mimic those interactions on a virtual setting this summer. And a lot, like the other routes have already had some of these meetings, but Sierra's first one is tonight with Napa and San Francisco, which are 2 like longtime Sierra staples. And so very excited for those, and know that their support is a huge part of how we're able to do this every summer. And so riding for them.
And just a quick reminder, we have about 4 more minutes before we get ready to get on our bikes and get cycling for the next hour. So just a reminder to everybody that while we're cycling, feel free to keep making comments on the Facebook post and any more ride dedications that you may have. Or you can also, like the video said at the beginning, go to the text4000.org webpage and make your ride dedication there, and they'll be read off like we did today. So yeah, keep those coming in because, like we said, that's like definitely our number one motivation whenever times are getting tough. I know I have some reminders that I keep on me whenever I'm biking. Like I have a daisy on my bike for one of the original reasons I ride for Margarita Gresswell. And so those little motivations and reminders of why we're here definitely help on difficult rides for sure.
I can give a quick ride dead for someone who just recently really helped out our team. One of our brief program coordinators, Sam Finkensteitz, I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right. But she was also a Sierra ride director for her year several years ago. And she hopped on this past semester to help see our team through at least until the beginning of summer. And she has been a tremendous help at making all of this come together. Really helping to make things organized. And without her help, I'm not sure how this would have turned out. So big shout out to Sam.
Yeah, and also with Sam, also all the board members and staff who have helped us come together in general. The 2 weeks leading up to this virtual ride, I know us three here on leadership, so we got a lot of hands-on in making this happen, and being in constant communication with staff and board has been super helpful. And we appreciate everything that they're doing to make this the best experience for us possible and the best experience also for the community as possible. One of the cool things about getting to do these virtual rides is we actually get to we'll get messages from all over the world. So very grateful for them for making this happen. Thank you, Jody. We'll be riding for Tom and Michelle.
All right, let me check one chat, see if we have any ride deads. It looks like we don't from the rest of the Sierra riders riding this morning. So I think without further ado, we'll just go ahead and wrap this up so that we can go ahead and get started on the riding.
Yeah.
Oh wait, we have one last ride dead. It hasn't quite popped up yet. There we go. From Sarah Kettles, who's in charge of the alumni committee, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. Or something along those
She's
lines.
on board.
Yeah, she was Rocky's ride director way back when. So yes, we will certainly ride for her partner Brett, who was also a 2010 rider. Oh yeah, happy 10th anniversary!
Great. Well, thanks for tuning in for the ride dedication. And then we're going to get ready to get on our bikes and cycle for the next hour. So if you have any questions or any other comments you would like to make while we're biking, feel free to do so.
And good morning. We are back with the 2020 Texas 4000 Summer Ride presented by Abbott. And so we are extremely grateful to be here again this morning with the 2020 riders. As you just saw a little while ago, if you were on our stream, they were given their ride dedications, and you can feel free to give any more ride dedications in the Facebook comments or on the YouTube comments. The riders will be able to see those as they come up on the screen and continue to ride for those you love who've been affected by cancer. And so we're very excited to have you all this morning. And so I am going to welcome back in our riders who are on their bikes today. And so we have Clara, Philip, and Rachel. And so super excited to have you all this morning, and thank you for helping out with ride dedications. And so just in case anybody who is on the stream was now it wasn't on the stream earlier, if you all could give a little introduction about yourself before we get into a few questions about Texas 4000 and your experience. Start with Clara.
Hey guys, my name is Clara. Can y'all hear me okay? Over my squeaky trainer? Okay, great. My name is Clara. I'm the assistant ride director. Some may say assistant to the ride director for the Sierra route. That's the route, if you don't know, that goes up to the west coast of the United States. Today we will be biking through California.
Awesome. And we'll go to Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm the travel chair for the Sierra route. And so that just meant like planning a lot of the logistics stuff, like where we'd be biking, which, yeah, Clara's right, we'd be in California.
Awesome. And Philip.
Hello, everyone. My name is Philip. I am the 2020 Sierra Ride Director. Wait, Ross, would you like us to like talk about like majors or stuff like that too?
Sure, that'd be great. Whatever you would like to share with our viewers.
All right, cool. So this last spring, I graduated with a bachelor's in biochemistry and a certificate in computer science. And in the fall, I'll be back at UT on a PhD track in cellular and molecular biology.
Impressive. That's great. Clara, anything about your major? Anything else you wanted to share?
Sure. I can go ahead and share my major. Being that it was one of the reasons that I joined Texas 4000. My major is psychology. I mentioned this morning that one of the reasons that I joined Texas 4000 was for all the mental health providers and for just the mental health of people in the cancer community in general. I also graduated virtually this in May, and in September I'll be moving to Japan. Hopefully in September we'll see how it pans out with everything going on, but moving to Japan to go teach English for a year before continuing my studies in public policy.
Awesome. And Rachel, anything else that you'd like to share before we ask a few questions?
Sure. I also just graduated in May, but I graduated with a degree in management information systems from the business school, and I'll be starting at Dell in a finance development program soon.
Awesome. And Dell, do you mean Dell Med or Dell up north?
I mean Dell Technologies. I always just say Dell and forget that I'm around a bunch of medical students.
Yeah, well, it's certainly been an adjustment in the Austin area because we've all known of Dell since it started here, but then with the Dell Medical School, which we're all super excited to have here, changing our mindset and everything, and knowing that we need to say a little bit more. But that's awesome. Congrats on that. We have a few comments in here. Sarah wishing you well for your ride today. And so, yeah, as the riders were saying before, Sarah Kettle, she is one of the co-chairs of the Alumni Council. And so our Alumni Council helps bring together alumni from all different years to be able to help and support the organization and support the current riders. And so we're grateful for all the alumni out there who continually show their support for the team, and especially during this time that they've come out and continued to show that support and give back. And just a shout out to some of our alumni who there's, as you see, our riders are on trainers and they're not outdoors at the moment. One thing to note is that means that they all have to be on trainers. And so trainers aren't necessarily the cheapest thing. And it's another thing that riders needed to go and get. And so we had some alumni help and donate to the organization to help with so the organization could get some trainers for riders. And so we're very grateful for the Alumni Council and everything that Sarah does, and as well as Susan, the other co-chair, and all the other alumni. And then we have a comment here from Eric Hurst. And we definitely thank all three of you as well for taking on the virtual ride. I've heard the sentiment multiple times that that what may be harder than doing a ride to Anchorage may be what you guys are doing. And so we're very grateful for that and everything that you're doing. And so with that, I thought that maybe we'd get into some info about, oh wait, before I do that, we have some exciting messages from Eric Kurtz as well as this. We got a congratulations to Philip for graduating. We got a congratulations and a well done to Clara. And then we got a go McCombs. Well done, Rachel. So thank you, Eric, and congrats to all three of you for graduating, and all other team members who graduated this May. We know that things were different than anticipated, but still quite an accomplishment to be graduating and moving on to the next thing that you'll be doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Awesome. And so I thought that, so we just had ride dedications earlier where you got a chance to talk about a bunch of the different people that you ride for and everything, and maybe news stories that you got. But would you all mind sharing a little bit about how the team stays centered on the mission throughout the whole 18 months in Texas 4000, and like what happens in team meetings with the wire ride so that people can be reminded of the mission?
Yeah, I can take that. So for those who were unable to make it to ride dedications, that's something that we do before every meeting and every ride, regardless of the type of meeting and regardless of the type of ride. And that's where you just say, I ride for this person. This person being someone who you know that has been affected by cancer in some way, either directly or tangentially. And then your why I ride is something that each rider gives during team meetings. And that's like a very extended ride dedication where you say, these are the people and this is the story that compelled me to apply to Texas 4000 to begin with. This is the person whose memory and whose impact on myself I have chosen to dedicate this entire ride for. So it's very much like an extended ride dedication where they, put together some slides with pictures and stories and anecdotes. And that serves as a real constant reminder as to why we do what we do in Texas 4000 and why we put in dozens of hours of work all the time. Because sometimes, when you're in the midst of like final season or something and like you have T4K requirements to juggle along with academics or other extracurriculars you might be involved with, it can be really difficult to, stay enthusiastic and stay motivated for Texas 4000. But through ride dedications and wire rides, it makes it so much easier to do so. So yeah, those are the two big traditions that T4K does that keep us focused on why we joined T4K and why we continue to work to uphold T4K's mission.
Awesome. And Phil talked a little bit about like staying motivated and everything. And with that, Laura, were there times where you, like the why rides that you were hearing and the ride dedications that were happening within your team helped keep you moving forward when times were tough, whether it was just on a bike ride or if it was in anything else related to Texas 4000?
Yeah, all the time. Not just one time, but almost every meeting. I think a lot of riders share this opinion, but why rides to me were probably my favorite, one of, if not my favorite part of Texas 4000. I remember specifically having, the semester was my last semester of college, so there's a lot of really stressful things going on, juggling jobs and classes, and then I would show up to meeting like really exhausted, like Monday night, I'm not a nighttime person, like hard to show up, and then I'd get there and then I would hear one of my teammates' wire rides, which was always like really put everything into perspective for me, not only like my own struggles, but also like why I'm there, that like the sacrifice that I'm making by having to make a Sunday meeting or making a Saturday ride, really like is no comparison to the mission, like the struggle of, finals and things like that, in comparison to some of the stories we hear and why I rides just make everything seem so small by comparison, and just like really keeps you going. Like even not only just on the bike, but off the bike too, like whenever I'm hearing these stories and I have a final the next day, I'm like, if my teammates could get through that, if their family could get through that, then like I can get through a final. So yeah, wire rides definitely motivate me in all aspects of my life. And I think will continue to motivate me, not just throughout, my Texas 4000 experience, but as I continue on through life.
Awesome. Yeah. And Rachel, in your role as travel chair and with your travel committee, have you all had the opportunity to kind of get little mini wire rides, whether hosts were letting you know why they are staying involved and things like that, and things that help to keep you motivated? Because what I think a lot of people don't realize is how much work goes into travel and everything that the travel committee does, and especially the travel chairs, to put together the plan and everything, and then contacting countless people. Did you find that people were opening up and telling you their story, even though you had just met?
Yeah, so ideally we would have like been able to visit these families and heard so much more, but like even just from those that scheduling and that planning throughout the year, like I was able to kind of really get a lot of perspective on how much Texas 4000 has impacted people like across the world, like throughout the US and Canada. And it really, like I never would have known just what kind of an organization it is without being the travel chair, I think. And like one story that's really amazing, like for a city in Oregon that we were supposed to go through, while we were doing a lot of planning for obviously like the COVID situation and like the pandemic. When it happened, we had to do a lot of adjustments, but we got a lot of like support in return, which was really, really great, especially given all the circumstances, and very encouraging. And a park ranger in Pacific City, Oregon, he actually told one of our coordinators about like something that he had done in Alaska, I think. And like he was just commending us for the like using your physical strength to like advocate for a cause and doing it when other people can't. And that really like sometimes I get caught up in the fact that T4K, like we're biking from Austin to Alaska, but there are so many other people and organizations that do like similar things. And it really is just like a testament to people's strength and like their driving forces behind that.
Awesome. Yeah, it's. I think that many people involved with Texas 4000 have found that it helps to break down some of those barriers, and that people are way more willing to be open than we ever expected when we just meet or just sent an email or gave a phone call and just met these people. So that's wonderful to hear. So really quick, I'm gonna check in with the other Sierra riders who are not on the stream with us today, but they are over on Zoom. And so I am going to work on pulling them up here in just a second. They should be showing up on screen here. There they are. So I'll send them a message really quick because they can't hear me or there's a delay. Oh, good morning, everybody. Hope they're doing well. And you may see a duplicate in there. If you didn't know, that Philip is actually a twin, and they move in sync with each other as well. So yeah, so it's great. Every day that we have these cycling events, we have the riders who since in our streaming platform, there's only a certain number of people who we can have in here at a time, but we have the remainder of the riders getting together and getting on Zoom and riding their bikes. We even have some who are getting on Zwift and riding there. And so throughout the remainder of the month, you may see at times somebody named Texas 4000, last name texas4000.org, who is on Zwift, and so you can feel free to search for them and search and then follow. And then if you find them on any given day, you can ride along with them. And I know that Bowen, who's in there, has at times been one of the people riding on there, and then some other teammates. And so while we have a few on the stream with us at the moment, there's a lot more behind the scenes who are doing the hard work and staying connected to the mission. And so we're grateful for all of that. And so we'll pop back over here to the riders in here. And Philip, since you're in there, you can let them know, since there's 5 more over there. If they want, they can try to jump in here this morning, and we can switch people in and out if they want to talk. But no pressure there, because there's room backstage. Oh, we have a message here from your teammate. So Colin is calling the Sierra route amazing, and so Colin is from the Ozarks route. But one awesome thing about Texas 4000 is that it is an organization that has 3 different routes that go 3 different ways to Alaska. And currently, in our current circumstances, we have 3 different routes that ride on that have their specific days to be on stream and everything. And so while things may seem like there are 3 different teams, it's actually one big team that all care a lot about each other. And so maybe Clara, could you tell us a little bit about how is there any kind of competition between the routes and stuff like that? But then also does that matter in the grand scheme of things because you all are one just big team?
Yeah, sure. I think I have a lot of experience to speak on because I have had the privilege of being on 2 routes. I was originally on Rockies, which goes up the Rocky Mountains. And then when I got my assistant ride director position, I switched over to Sierra. Is there competition? Yes, there is competition between the routes. Healthy amount, lovingly so. Sierra is the best route, just hands down. Mainly because I'm on it, but whatever. But honestly, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. We all, train together. There wasn't a lot of separation between routes when it came to training. And I think training is when you really got to know people. it's 8 hours into a ride that people really start opening up. And, the people who open up to you aren't necessarily going to be the people on your route. They're going to be people from different routes. And, we're all here for the same reason. We're all here because we support this mission and we all care deeply about the cancer community and want to do something about it. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. There is still healthy competition, and Sierra is still the best route.
Well, yeah, healthy competition helps push a team along to be the best they can be. And so definitely nothing wrong with that. And so we have a message in here from another Ozarks person here who's praising the Sierra dice and everything. And so that's one of the little terms that is used for the Sierra route. And so and here's another. And so everybody's congratulating Sierra route today on being on their bikes. And so we're super grateful for you all as well. And so here's a question, and maybe Rachel, you can answer it, but it's in the Facebook comments. And so it's how do hosts get involved with Texas 4000? Are they cancer survivors themselves, families who've been impacted by cancer, or just people who want to help in the fight against cancer?
So I think originally hosts were mainly people who had been impacted by cancer and or had fought cancer themselves or had a family member that they lost. And that's still definitely a big part of like our host experience. But I think that like in the last 17 years of Texas 4000 and like we've had hosts that will just like really resonate with the mission, or they've had family members or they've known someone who's been on the Texas 4000 team. And so like over the last decade or so, like hosts have really just come from like anywhere and everywhere. Like we found hosts on like Facebook groups, like the mission has really just grown so much, I think, and evolved with the team. And it's reached like just such a larger audience and a bigger impact than we probably ever could have imagined. And because of that, we just have like anybody and everybody that wants to support the team, and being a host is one of those ways.
Yeah, we are extremely grateful for all of our hosts. One thing we see with Texas 4000 riders themselves is that they all have varying reasons to get involved with Texas 4000, and that we see the same thing from all of our hosts. And so it's pretty incredible that some people just hear about what they're doing once, and then they're willing to open their doors to a group of 20 to 28 college students and welcome them into their home or their rec center or whatever it may be. And so yeah, and I guess, Rachel, while we're on that topic, when you are communicating with hosts and stuff, what type of situations are you normally kind of asking for sleeping accommodations and stuff? Are you normally all getting beds and stuff, like if it were to be happening normally, or what would it have looked like?
When I was planning for the route, I really was not picky at all. Like anywhere that was willing to take, like you said, like almost 30 college students like off the road from like biking all day, I was gonna be like happy and very grateful. And so beds were not an expectation I had. I hope that no one else had that expectation. No hotels, no like 5-star accommodations. Definitely we'd be lucky if we had a bed. I was really happy every time I saw someone say they would be willing to have us do laundry. We were gonna do a lot of camping, a lot of sleeping on gym floors. So really just like we're grateful for any support we get. And although we did have a few beds, like that is not the norm.
Yeah. And I think that really speaks to the resilience of all of you, and even more so now with getting on your bikes in your rooms at the moment, and kind of still staying connected to the mission. But there's a big amount of resilience in the group of Texas 4000 riders that we've seen to be able to sleep on floors and then get up the next day and keep riding, or and other circumstances just take whatever's thrown at them and make the best out of it. And I think that's what we have been seeing over the last few months with everything going on, that the team has stayed close together and stayed united and focused on the mission, which is what all we can ask for in the fight against cancer is a group of people to continue to stay focused on that, because it's a mission that is very important and hasn't stopped. So we're very appreciative of that, appreciative of our hosts, and I think Louisa is grateful for your answer here, Rachel. And so we got some more praise for the Sierra route coming in here, and even by name. There you go. So I was thinking of something just a second ago and it left my mind. But let's take a look at some other questions here that to help the viewers understand a little bit more about Texas 4000. I guess so. In order to be able to be a part of Texas 4000 and really put on this big event and everything, whether it is the summer ride as we normally know it or this virtual ride, it takes a lot of support from people outside. We talked about hosts. Could you all talk a little bit, and maybe we'll jump over to Philip since he hasn't talked a little bit about some of our sponsors and stuff like that, and some of the support that we get from the various organizations.
Yeah, so Colin, who just commented however many minutes ago, he was he still is our business development chair, and I was lucky enough to oversee that committee, so I can speak on a little bit about what they do. So during the actual ride, host accommodations are definitely the most important thing for us to secure, but beyond that, we need to make sure that we can keep our bikes in working order, that we have enough food, drink, and electrolytes to last us throughout every ride. And so that, we have these amazing jerseys and kits to wear. So that's a lot of what business development does, is they help secure these sponsors for us so that, if we're ever like riding and our blood sugar is really low, that we have like a trillion CLIF bars to choose from. Like stuff like that is really, really important, but also stuff that we make sure that we don't take for granted. Because year after year, like these CLIF cubes, which we just got a big shipment of. So it's always important that we don't take these for granted because, they change every year. Some sponsors that T4K had last year, we don't have this year, but we have some new sponsors this year that they didn't have last year. It just sort of depends on the communications of each year's business development committee. So it's always really important for us to pursue sponsorships. Like our presenting sponsor this year is Abbott, which is the biotech company that our founder, Chris Condit, works for. So incredibly, incredibly lucky that we have a presenting sponsor this year.
Yeah, definitely. And really quick here, I'm going to pull up a screen here for people to see. And Clara is back, so I will bring her back in. But I'm going to pull up a screen here. And so people should still be able to hear me behind here. But here is a list of our sponsors. And so you can see, as Philip was talking about, Abbott, our presenting sponsor, and he talked a little bit about CLIF. But then we also have some other sponsors, United Heritage Credit Union, the Zebra, Hillcorp, Bicycle World, Pro Izumi, and Brown Distributing, as well as down here we have Giant and others. And so so we're very grateful for all of our sponsors and everything. And for those who don't know, Giant being one of our supporters, so Giant they are the bikes that the riders are on. And so you can see Philip's black bike there. It's black and orange. It's a Giant bike. And then the two white bikes with Clara and Rachel are Liv, which is essentially a sister organization with Giant and part of the greater Giant organization. And so very grateful for them. But yeah, thanks for the info on sponsors, Philip, because we could not do what we do in Texas 4000 without the support of our hosts, as we heard from Rachel, without the support of sponsors, and then we did talk about alumni as well. They're a big part, and then everybody else out there who's watching. And so just as you may have heard earlier, Clara was talking about the website, and so that's one place where you can give ride dedications, but you can also make donations there if that is something that you would like to do. If this is something that you'd like to get involved with, all you have to do is go to texas4000.org, and there'll be a big donate button, and you can donate there. Any amount, small or big, is welcome and helpful. The team just last week, I believe, hit $500,000, which is incredible. And so each team continues to just grow and find ways to raise a significant sum of money in the fight against cancer to help make a difference. Because what we're all fighting for is a world without cancer, and those funds, part of that goes out to our grant organizations. And earlier and during our ride dedication, Clara was talking about one of those, and that we donate out some of the money that we are bringing in order to help make that difference. And so I guess, Clara, would you mind maybe chatting a little bit about were you on the call tonight about some of the stuff that you learned from Oshner?
Yeah, sure. I think one of the things that I really liked hearing about was hearing from Dr. Moore from a different perspective on cancer treatment right now during COVID, and the importance of telemedicine. I thought it was really cool because he talked about how, at the beginning of the year, they do like a strategic meeting. And even before COVID, he was talking about how, the importance of implementing telemedicine in general, not just, to facilitate things, for like the running of a hospital, but also because of the importance of making sure that the patients are comfortable. They don't have to be leaving their houses to go to the doctors. There's so many things that can be done with telemedicine. And he mentioned how through COVID that telemedicine has been like obviously super important. I think a lot of us just in general have been exposed to telemedicine for the first time throughout this COVID experience. So I think that to me was something that was really interesting. Also, granting to help with social workers and assistance to cancer patients. I think it's really important. We opened up really cool dialogue too about the importance of, making sure that people that there's accessible treatment for everybody. So telemedicine is one way to do that. Also, we also talked about the importance of addressing diversity and, gaps within ethnic groups as to who gets treatment. So I think that conversation was really eye-opening as somebody who isn't in medicine. I know a lot of my teammates are really involved in public health. And so getting to hear from a doctor and getting to hear from a huge hospital who just opened up a new treatment center and getting to hear from the doctor and having these really important dialogues was really eye-opening. And I'm super grateful to be part of a team that gets to grant out to Oshner and be a part of, bettering treatment for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. At the end of the day, we want treatment to be accessible and as easy as it can be for people to go through that. And then that doesn't. The thing about cancer is it doesn't look at any boundaries or differences in people. It affects everybody. That we've seen that from the multitude of people that we've met within the organization and outside the organization who have been affected by cancer, all different walks of life, all different backgrounds and everything. And so seeing what these organizations are doing to make sure that they're focusing on accessibility of care is awesome, and definitely something that when we were at MD Anderson this past semester for a visit, they talked about as well, and how they are expanding that and making sure to get like perspectives from everybody, their employees and their patients and everything like that. And so MD Anderson being one of our other grant recipients in the past, who we think do wonderful work and everything. And so I guess we'll pop back over to Rachel. Could you talk a little bit about the volunteering aspect of Texas 4000 and like kind of what you all were required to do throughout your time in Texas 4000 and the type of organizations that you got involved with?
Yeah, I might have been the wrong person to ask, but because I was gone the first semester, so I actually had a bit of a different volunteering like requirement or expectations. But I think we each as team members have to volunteer a total of 40 hours. Is it 40 hours or 50 hours? 50. Okay, thank you. See, but like we have a we had a really amazing volunteer coordinator this past year, Tony, who set us up with a lot of really cool opportunities. One of those was Be the Match, and like that, we could talk about that organization for a really long time. They're doing incredible things. Also with the what Clara talked about, something I also like to ride for is the inequality in cancer treatment, and just like the kind of like lack of treatments available. Like with Be the Match, they talk a lot about the discrepancy in like resources available and just like matches available. It's a lot easier for like myself to find a match than if you were biracial or just really like another race that's not white. And so that's something that they advocate for a lot, and they'd come to meetings, and it was really interesting to learn about. And that was something that was really great about our volunteering opportunities is I found that it was really like educational, and like I would learn a lot as well as being able to volunteer in those kind of like opportunities. But something I really loved, my favorite volunteer opportunity was when we would go kind of train with some of the Dell Children's patients, and we would go and like run a few laps with them around Austin, and they were training for, I think it was the 5K run for water in the fall, and then in the spring they do the color run. That one was like, oh, I loved that. That was like, it was just so sweet to be able to kind of like interact with them a little bit and like their families, and just kind of do something really fun outside of like the kind of really difficult life that they're leading, even though they're like 6 years old. So those were my favorite volunteer opportunities. If Clara or Philip want to share theirs, go for it.
Sure, go for it, Clara.
Sure. There's so many. Honestly, one of the good things too about like team bonding with volunteering opportunities is your first semester you still don't have your bike. So you get to, and that's the semester where you have to do the most volunteering. I believe it's 20 hours or 15? 25. 25. Okay, I did that many hours. Cool. But yeah, so like almost every weekend of the semester, I was out early, volunteering at different races or doing like Girls Love Mail, where you get to write letters to people going through cancer treatment. So many different opportunities, but I loved getting to meet my teammates and learn about them, sitting outside at 5 a.m. in the cold for hours on end at Livestrong or at MS 150 was really a great opportunity to also, meet people who are cyclists or athletes and who see that we're in Texas 4000 and like automatically are drawn to us and like either they're curious about what it is or they themselves know the organization through their own involvement in cancer community. I I'm a big story person. Like, I got a minor in sociology because I think personal stories are just one of the most important things that we have as humans. So those volunteering opportunities were a great chance to not only, help out the community, but also gain some new knowledge about how individuals were each affected by cancer.
Awesome. Yeah. Philip, do you
Yeah, sure. I think volunteering is one of the areas that really does a good job at emphasizing how every Texas 4000 team is different, and every Texas 4000 team's contribution to furthering our mission is different. So, we obviously have these recurring volunteering events like the Austin Marathon or like Live Strong races, which allow Texas 4000 to get some fundraising out of volunteering as well. But we also have events, which my favorite event is one that Rachel already mentioned, which is Be the Match, which I guess that isn't a singular event like the Austin Marathon is, where it's on like a single morning. It's more of an ongoing effort by our team to really establish an enduring relationship with Be the Match. So what was sort of the catalyst for that was there was a UT student named Lizzie Tenningson who unfortunately had to drop out of UT due to having to pursue cancer treatment. And she was looking for a match on the bone marrow registry. So our team, and especially humongous shout out to our volunteering chair, Tony, really put a tremendous effort into finding her a match amongst UT students. Now, unfortunately, this last spring, Lizzie passed away. So she's one of the many, many people that our team is always riding for. But, throughout the whole time that our team has spent with Be the Match, we're confident that in the years to come that Texas 4000 teams can continue to have a strong relationship with them. Because I believe on one particular day, our team tried to add as many people to the bone marrow registry as possible. And I think we had over 100 people that joined, which that's something that I'm incredibly proud of as ride director, but also as rider. And yeah, my favorite volunteering opportunity is for sure Be the Match.
Awesome. Yeah, well, it's a wonderful organization, and we definitely love helping them. And we've had teams in the past also take packets with Be the Match across the continent to try to get people registered outside of the Austin community. And so it's been wonderful to see the various teams find ways to help give back to Be the Match and really make a larger impact beyond that to find individuals matches who really need it. So. But yeah, so that was a little bit about our volunteering. And so before we keep chatting and stuff, I'm going to check in on our Zoom call again. And so pulling them up here. There they are. Send them a message. But yeah, so the group of Sierra riders here. So just to let everybody know who's on screen with us, since they're not able to chat at the moment, we have Bowen, we have Christina, Kunal, Mihir, and Lindsay, and then Philip's doppelganger over there. And so it's awesome to see them all there, just getting in some hard work this morning and staying connected with the fight against cancer in Texas 4000. And so hope you all are doing well over there. I think that you're watching on Facebook Live, and so shout out to all of you. And we'll be moving back over here to Philip, Rachel, and Clara now. And so, Clara, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the varying backgrounds, varying cycling backgrounds that people come from when they join Texas 4000, and how most of you are very skilled cyclists when you start, right?
No, not at all. So I had the opportunity to be on the fitness and safety committee. So I got to learn a lot about cycling, but before this, the only thing I had ever done was dance. And so I don't remember the time I had ridden a bike prior to joining Texas 4000. My dad was a cyclist and his friends are cyclists. So like I had a basic understanding, which is more than some people. So we have riders who literally don't know how to ride a bike until they join Texas 4000. So their first experience with a bike is riding on a road bike, which for those of you who don't know, is very different, I would argue, than riding on, a normal bike, quote unquote. But yeah, we have varying stages. And so a big part of what we do with fitness and safety is making sure that we are as equipped as possible to learn cycling in the safest way possible, learn all your calls. So, if there's like a pothole, learning to call pothole, learning how to stay in line with pace line, different things. But yeah, we have people who learned how to ride a bike when joining Texas 4000. We have people who have like some knowledge, and then we have people like Bowen, our fitness and safety coordinator, who raced and is a very experienced cyclist. We have Ironmen. It's very different, everybody. But I think that difference from starting point really helps because you feel safe whenever you're riding with somebody who's an experienced cyclist and you're just learning. And you also just everybody really helps each other out. Like, we're not competitive at all when it comes to cycling. Like, we are all there for each other, making sure that everybody's having safe and experienced cycling as possible. And, by the end, we logged over 900 miles, minimally. So, at the end of the day, we learn to cycle and it's great.
Awesome. Yeah. And so for those who, before I get into this, just a reminder for those who are watching on Facebook and YouTube to feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions for the riders or you want to give them a ride dedication. Also, you can go to texas4000.org to donate. And then also you can find our merchandise there as well. But Clara, yeah, that's a very important point, that the team comes from all different cycling backgrounds, and it does help bring them together and show support. And at the end of the day, it's about doing this together and being in the fight against cancer together versus it being a race or anything. And so we are grateful that we have a kind of a long 18-month process to gradually build riders up and then get them to where they're getting on a bike, and then throughout the remainder of the training, so that people are really kind of getting engaged with that active lifestyle and everything. And with that, 18 months, that's a long time. And for those online who are watching, if you weren't aware, Texas 4000 is also a leadership development organization, and so we're very fortunate today to have three of the leaders of the Sierra route on with us. And if you weren't here at the beginning, Philip is the ride director, Clara is assistant ride director, and Rachel is the travel chair. And so I guess, Philip, if you wouldn't mind just kind of chiming in a little bit about the leadership development and kind of what opportunities there are for people to get involved as leaders within the organization.
Yeah, so T4K is a very rare organization where there is quite literally a position for every team member to serve our team and our mission in some form or fashion. So there are tons of different committees, of which there is a chair on each committee and then a ride director that oversees the chair. And, we have committees such as the aforementioned volunteering, business development, fitness. We also have community events, programs, travel, finance and ops, fundraising, years, I can name them all. But in each of these committees, there's a coordinator role that can be filled by anyone on the team. And anyone on the team can be involved in multiple committees if they want, There are people who served Rachel in Sierra's travel committee that were also involved in Sierra's programs and helped create the Sierra program video, which we show. And so, yeah, that's an amazing aspect about Texas 4000, because the leadership development side of things is something that like you really can't avoid, which is definitely a really good way for every rider to grow as a leader over the course of the 18 months. And yeah, it's something that would also continue through the summer, which is something that we're trying to do by having, different people be live streamed on every different rides. Or like yesterday, we had one person from each route that was present during the Oshner visit who would ask questions or, converse with hosts or grant recipients. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways for people to join into the leadership development side of Texas 4000.
Awesome. Yeah, and one thing that we do hear from people is that if they're aware of Texas 4000, they know that they love to get people from Texas 4000 to join their companies and stuff like that, because they know the type of people who come out of the organization. Because while it is a leadership development organization and we help kind of get you started, it's the team that like builds the culture within their own team, and then also make sure to set the standards and figure out how they're going to accomplish this big task as their own unique team. And so every year it's inspiring to see this group of young leaders who are going to go on and do other great things well beyond Texas 4000. And so we have a few comments in here. And so for those who are watching, we do have just a few more minutes here. So if you have any more comments, feel free to put them in the comment section on Facebook or YouTube. But earlier we were talking about Be the Match. And so we have a comment from Jody here. So saying that you're leaving a great legacy with really connecting with Be the Match and everything. And we've been fortunate enough to see Brenda Garza jump onto multiple of our streams and be supporting us. And so we support them. They support us. And so love that organization. And then we have another thanks for the Sierra team. And then from Eric here, he's wondering from each of you, what is your favorite training ride? So I guess we'll start with Philip, since you're off mute at the moment.
For me, that's a really easy decision. That would definitely be Lime Creek. Sort of the way that our training regimen works is that we build up to way more long distance, but also high elevation routes that we tackle. So we didn't end up riding much in West Austin until this semester, West Austin being the much more mountainous part of Central Texas. And so once we were finally able to do something out by Lake Travis, it is stunningly beautiful to ride over there with like great roads, great views, amazing hills. So to me, it struck the perfect balance between an enjoyable ride, but also a really grueling ride, and one that'll, definitely challenge any cyclist on the team, regardless of if you're experienced or not.
Awesome. Rachel, any thoughts? Favorite training ride?
My favorite training ride was definitely Buc-ee's. It was I've like told this story a million times, but it's one of my favorite memories from college, actually. It was the first full Saturday ride I was able to do after my broken hip. And that was also our last Saturday ride as a team before all of the COVID stuff happened. And it was just riding back from that ride after 85 miles into the CPE and finishing it was just the best feeling in the world. And I love the Buc-ee's ride.
Awesome. And I've heard some debate over that, but I don't think we have time for that at the moment. But I've heard that it's a pretty nice place to stop while you're on your bike. And so, so we can check in with Clara and see what was your favorite training ride.
yeah, I first would like to preface this by answering an argument that has been ongoing, whether Round Rock Donuts or Buc-ee's is better, and just put the final word out there, because we are coming to a close, so I get to do that. Round Rock Donuts wins. It's more niche. It's cool. It's hip. Donuts are great. But my favorite ride was the one after Lion Creek, the one that Philip said. I was actually sagging, so I was assisting with rest stops for the Lion Creek one. But the following ride, we did a Lion Creek plus Dam Loop, which was a bit longer. Also, just a beautiful ride. Got to see the lakes, just like all around. Difficult ride. It was 70 miles, very hilly, lots of elevation. I had just come back from a ride that I did not have a good ride day. That happens. You know, some days you feel great on the bike, and then some days you get on and you're like, what happened? So I was really nervous going in. Rachel was in my team. I was with Rachel, Race, Paige, and Madison. And I think what made that ride so nice was just the teammates, like, despite it being beautiful, like, the teammates having, like, time to talk to them, and just, like, it just felt so safe and comfortable with them, and we were all just, like, having a good time and motivating each other. And then also, at the end, our last rest stop before pulling to the CPE, we got to meet our Anchorage hosts, who have been the Anchorage hosts from day one and have been emailing us and supporting us throughout every second of this process. Like, I literally get emotional thinking about it, because they're just such an amazing part of Texas 4000. So getting to meet them after one of my favorite rides ever was just like the best experience. So in conclusion, Lion Creek plus Dam Loop is my favorite ride, and Round Rock Donuts is better than Buc-ee's.
Well, it sounds like Clara has settled the score for the argument that may be picked up tomorrow. Who knows? We will see what continues. This will be a nice ongoing theme throughout the Texas 4000 summer ride, to see what is the best between Buc-ee's and Round Rock. But thank you for answering that. And so we are essentially at time, and so we will check back in with the Zoom call one last time before we let you go. And so they should be pulling up right now. And so there is the rest of the riders. And so I'll send them a quick message. And so, yeah, so they've been on their bike cycling for this whole hour as well as Philip, Rachel, and Clara. And so very grateful to have all of them putting in the hard work this morning. I remember that if you go to texas4000.org, you can donate there if you would like to do so as well. You can find merchandise there. And then don't forget that throughout this month, if you are getting out and doing things on your own, feel free to take a picture, put it on Instagram or any social media, and use the hashtags T4K rides on and hashtag ride with T4K. Those are our official hashtags for the summer ride. And so that's a way that you can show your support for the riders, as well as coming into these streams. And so just for a little bit of information, we'll be having our next stream tomorrow morning at 7:30 as well, and you'll be joined by the Rockies route. And so we are just extremely grateful for everybody who has been a part of this so far. Big shout out to our presenting sponsor, Abbott, for getting involved with us in helping support Texas 4000 and the rest of our sponsors. And so with that, I think that we will log off for the day, but thank you so much to everybody, and we are looking forward to tomorrow. And so, see you, riders.
Thank you, everyone.